I should have seen it coming. It wasn't just the late nights on her phone or the way she started humming to herself in the shower like she had a secret she couldn't wait to tell someone. It was the way she smiled at me less and at her screen more. That smile, the one that used to light up her face when she saw me after a long day, had faded, replaced with something distant. Her eyes would linger on her phone, her lips curling at something unseen. There was a softness in her gaze when she looked at it, a quiet anticipation I didn't understand. The way she'd tilt her head when texting, like she was savoring every word, like there was something there, hidden between the lines, that I couldn't see. It was so subtle, so small, but it nodded me. But love makes you blind, doesn't it? For years, I thought we were happy. We built a life together, mortgage, weekend brunches at that CAF down the street, inside jokes only we understood. We'd laugh about nothing, about everything. It felt like we were always in on the same secret. She was my best friend. My wife. The one person who knew me better than anyone else. And I believe she felt the same way. I never imagined I'd be sitting at our anniversary dinner, with the weight of the truth crashing down on me, about to detonate a bomb that would shatter everything I thought I knew. But here we were. My stomach twisted as I watched her laugh with her parents, blissfully unaware of what was about to unfold. I was done pretending. Done living in the comfortable lie I'd built around myself. I wasn't angry yet. But I knew this night would change everything. It started with a gut feeling. The feeling that something was off, something I couldn't explain but could no longer ignore. For months, I'd watched her change, bit by bit. She stopped waiting up for me when I worked late. It used to be a ritual for us, me coming home, her curled up on the couch, pretending to read or watch TV, but I knew she was just waiting for me. The smile she'd give when I walked in was always the same, like a small celebration that I'd made it back home safe. But slowly, that stopped. I'd come home and she'd already be in bed, her side of the blanket untouched, her eyes half closed as if she'd fallen asleep without me even knowing. One night, I came home earlier than usual, around 10 p.m. The house was quiet, too quiet. The living room was dark, only the faintest glow coming from the TV. The soft hum of the air conditioning was the only sound. I peeked into the living room and saw her curled up on the couch, blanket draped over her legs, but her focus wasn't on the screen. No, she was holding her phone, and the light from it illuminated her face in a way that made everything feel wrong. She didn't hear me at first. I just stood there in the doorway, watching her, feeling this strange mixture of curiosity and dread twist in my stomach. Then, she laughed. It wasn't a casual laugh, one of those polite chuckles she gave when she didn't quite find something funny. It wasn't the half-hearted giggle she gave me when I told one of my bad jokes. No, this was different. It was soft, intimate, full of warmth. I didn't recognize it. It was a laugh meant for someone else. "Stop, you're terrible," she whispered. It was playful. And I froze. I couldn't move. My heart raced as I stood there, my thoughts scrambling to make sense of what I was hearing. She hadn't heard me yet. The sound of her voice, gentle, like it was just for him, cut through the air, slicing the illusion of peace I had around me. She wasn't laughing with me. She wasn't even waiting for me. It felt like I was intruding on a moment that wasn't meant for me. I backed away, barely breathing, and went upstairs, pretending to come in as if I hadn't heard anything. I couldn't face her yet. I couldn't even look at her. I stayed in the dark, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was losing my mind. She came in minutes later, acting like everything was fine, asking about my day, giving me a kiss on the cheek, talking about random stuff, nothing that mattered. But I knew. I knew that laugh wasn't meant for me. And that thought, that feeling, clung to me like a weight in my chest. It wasn't paranoia. I wasn't imagining it. Something was wrong. So, I decided to find out what. That night, I made a decision. I'd been toying with the idea of spying for a while. I know, it sounds awful, snooping, invading her privacy. But when you feel like something is slipping away, when your gut tells you that everything you thought was solid is crumbling, you stop caring about the right thing to do. You just want answers. It wasn't difficult. Our smart TV had voice control built in. So, with some simple tweaks, I set it to record whenever it detected a conversation in the living room. I told myself it was just a precaution. That I was being paranoid. Maybe I was. But I had to know. I couldn't go on like this, waiting for her to come back to me, if she ever planned on doing so. And, oh, did I find out? The night before our anniversary, I finally listened. The recording was saved on my phone, and my fingers trembled as I tapped the play button. The first few seconds were filled with nothing but silence, the kind of silence that always felt too loud when you're waiting for the worst. Then came her voice. Soft, familiar, and laced with something I didn't want to hear. "He doesn't suspect a thing," she said, her voice smooth but laced with something that made my stomach churn. The next voice was deep, a man's voice. It felt too familiar, like I'd heard it before but couldn't place where. His voice was smooth, almost comforting, and it sent a shiver down my spine. "Good," he murmured. "I hate sneaking around, though." A pause. Then, her voice again, lower this time, like she was confessing something that shouldn't have been said. "I know. But it's just he's so predictable. He trusts me completely." My blood went cold. I felt it in my bones, the heaviness of her words, the weight of her betrayal. Every word she spoke pierced through me like a knife, carving out something I couldn't ever repair. There was a rustling on the other side of the phone. A soft, low chuckle from him. Then, her voice again, playful, as if she was teasing him. "You're terrible." And then the unmistakable sound of kissing. My stomach turned. I couldn't listen anymore. I reached for the phone and turned it off with trembling hands. I sat there in the dark, my body rigid, my mind reeling. My fists clenched at my sides, my chest tight like I was being suffocated. Everything inside me felt raw, as if a part of me had been torn away, leaving nothing but a hollow ache. I wanted to rage, to destroy everything, to confront her right then and there and demand answers. But I didn't. Instead, I waited. I let it all settle inside me, letting the reality of what I just heard wash over me. This wasn't just some mistake. This wasn't some little fling or misunderstanding. She had been lying to me for months. I wasn't even angry yet, I was numb, like I had just learned the world wasn't what I thought it was. But I wasn't going to make this easy for her. The next night, our anniversary, we sat in a nice restaurant. Dim lighting, white tablecloths, the hum of quiet conversation around us. She looked beautiful, radiant, like nothing had changed. Her smile was warm, her laugh genuine as she spoke with her parents. She dressed up for me, but I saw through it. I knew what lay beneath the surface, and I couldn't pretend anymore. Halfway through the meal, I reached into my pocket and pulled out my phone. "I got us a little something special," I said, keeping my voice calm, even, despite the storm inside me. "A surprise." She raised an eyebrow, clearly curious. "Oh?" I didn't smile. I didn't offer her any reassurance. Instead, I tapped the screen, connecting to our smart TV at home. The silence of the restaurant was broken by the soft click of the connection. And then, I turned up the volume. Their voices filled the room, clear as day. "He doesn't suspect a thing." The words hung in the air like a slap to the face. Her fork slipped from her fingers, clattering against her plate. Her mother frowned. "What's that?" Her father's face darkened. He knew. I could see it in his eyes. There was a sharpness there, something he couldn't hide, as if he was already aware of what was happening, like he'd been waiting for this moment. I watched her face drain of color, the blood leaving her cheeks as her eyes widened. Her lips parted, but she couldn't speak. She opened her mouth again, as if trying to find words that would explain it all away, but she had nothing. And then, her eyes rolled back, and she slumped forward, her body going limp as she fainted at the table. Everything around us went still. I watched, detached, as her parents scrambled to help her, confusion and concern overtaking their features. But inside, I was calm, even as everything in my world seemed to fall apart. The restaurant staff rushed over. One of them called for help, and another hovered over her, trying to revive her, their hands trembling. Her mother was beside her, frantic, pleading, "Honey, wake up. Please, wake up." But it was all too much for her. Too much for all of us. Her father, on the other hand, was silent. His gaze was fixed on me, his face unreadable. His expression was a mix of shock, disbelief, and was that respect? He didn't say a word. He just stared, like he was watching me, studying me in a way that felt strangely approving. As if somehow, he had always known this day would come. I sat back in my chair, taking a slow sip of my wine, feeling strangely detached from it all. The air was thick, heavy with the tension that hung between us. I could hear her parents whispering, trying to make sense of the situation, but all I could do was focus on her, slumped in front of me. I let it all sink in, the fact that everything I thought I knew was gone. The woman I married, my best friend, my partner, had been living a lie. And the man who had once been my family was now nothing more than a stranger to me. When she finally came to, her eyes flickered open, blurry at first. She looked around, confused, disoriented, before her eyes locked on me. She tried to speak, but the words didn't come. Her mouth opened, closed, and she started again, stammering. I. But she couldn't find the words. She was caught in the web of her own lies, and there was no escaping it now. I let the silence stretch out. I wanted her to feel it. The weight of the truth. The finality of everything she had done. Finally, I broke the silence. Happy anniversary. I stood up. I didn't need to say more. There was nothing left to say. Without another word, I turned and walked out, leaving her there, surrounded by the people she had lied to, with nothing but the shattered pieces of her own deception to hold on to. I didn't go home that night. I checked into a hotel. The bed was too big, too empty. My phone buzzed with her calls, with desperate messages begging me to come back, to talk to her, to fix everything. I ignored them all. The next morning, I woke up early. I didn't feel the urge to return to the house. I didn't need to see her anymore. Instead, I made a call to a lawyer. I made plans. By the afternoon, I had packed my things. When I left, I didn't leave a word of explanation, no lengthy goodbye. I left her a note on the kitchen counter, short and simple, just like I needed it to be. I knew. And now, so do they. When I walked out that door, I didn't look back. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't yelling or breaking things. It's letting them destroy themselves.